Hey everybody, we've got a new shirt for our Black Friday sale coming up, so if you're looking for some tasty new swag, be sure to head over to meatcanyon.store and get some new merch available for this time here. It'll probably be up later too, but there's a deal going on. Whatever. Enjoy the video. Another Black Friday in the books. Did you get all the things you wanted? Did you? Did you wait hours outside of a business to open up so you can get $2 off a video game? Black Friday just isn't the same anymore, is it? It's too commercialized. It's too sterile, you know? It's too safe. Remember when there used to be riots? It was chaos. It almost seemed like no company had any plan at all. They just said, we're just gonna have crazy deals and just let our employees fend themselves off. Well, let me take you back even further to one of the first biggest crazes of the holiday shopping season. Because I bet a lot of you don't even remember or don't even know about the Cabbage Patch Kid riots. Do people even know what Cabbage Patch Kids are nowadays? I feel like there's no way. No, there's no way anyone really remembers what Cabbage Patch Kids are, unless, I don't know, you're in your 50s maybe. I mean, Cabbage Patch Kids are, it's old. 80s old. Stranger Things old. The Cabbage Patch Kid craze was an early example of crazy suburban consumerism taking over a market and being broadcasted to the world by all of these news stations as if it's like some kind of crazy zoo attraction or carnival attraction. It was like one of the first times where people were just like bum rushing stores to get a product. One of the big first cases of seeing FOMO. He put the words there. In action on live television. I'm sure, you know, there's things where people probably had products they liked, but this goes deeper because with every heinous, evil thing that is to ever exist begins with a child. Children, they want something. Parents want to give them something for being good or just so they'll shut the hell up. And that is power. That is so much power. Everything, the world is dictated by 12-year-olds. Literally. That's it. Everything in media, everything you do is all a byproduct to promoting towards a 12-year-old child, which is why so many family-friendly YouTubers and stuff, it's all 12-year-olds who flock to that. The hundreds of millions of children that roam the streets of the internet, and also who have parents who have credit cards and cash that they can poke at and scream and be like, I want it! I want it! So, let's dive into this little product, the Cabbage Patch Kid. Seems simple enough. Here's a picture of it. Personally, if I saw that as a kid, I'd be like, huh? Right? But maybe the 80s were a different time. Cabbage Patch Kids were originally called Little People. Were created by Xavier Roberts in 1976 when he was a 21-year-old man, which is just odd to me that a 21-year-old man in the 70s was just like, they're little dolls that you adopt and they're bald and they're creepy and they all have fucked faces and heads. Oh my God, is that the first Cabbage Patch, the Little People? It was inspired by a German fabric sculpture technique from the 19th century. He started crafting dolls with unique faces. That's very unique. I think that he just doesn't know how to anatomically make a baby. No, they're just unique. Your kid isn't ugly, it's just unique looking. He initially sold these dolls at craft shows, and they gained popularity for their distinctive and individualized features. In 1982, the doll caught the eye of toy company Coleco, which mass-produced them under the name Cabbage Patch Kids, leading to a nationwide craze in the 1980s.
My baby has a real diaper.
So, you have a hot new toy out in the market, right? Some 21-year-old fucking hunk sits there. He's like, they have unique faces when really they're just fucked. And we're creating this sense of it's a hot product, red hot. All the cool kids with Hot Wheels and other shit, they're just like, yeah, do you guys even have a Cabbage Patch at all? And all the other poor kids are like, no. They're like, you guys are fucking losers, dude, for real. But what's weird here is Xavier actually introduced a bit of lore to how these things came about. The whimsical marketing backstory is that Xavier Roberts, the 21-year-old hunk, discovered a magical cabbage patch where the Cabbage Patch Kids were born from cabbages. What an imagination. And he decided to help them find loving homes by facilitating their adoption. Which also, that's just funny as like a child thing. Just like introducing adoption and stuff. This kid isn't yours, but he could be legally. Creating fanciful narratives that added to the allure and uniqueness of these dolls. No two dolls were supposed to be exactly the same, and each one's birth certificate had a unique name. God damn, Xavier. Classic. You get the people just being like, you're adopting this little guy. You're not buying him, you're adopting him, you're raising him. He's one of your own. This is a mouth to feed now, okay? Your doll's name is Bob. And there's not another Bob out there. He's very special, and you have to buy him. Creating that weird parasocial relationship with a doll immediately through the lore and backstory, pretty genius, Xavier. Not gonna lie. I need to start doing that with my shit. Then the first run. My God. Imagine being like, no two are the same, and it's just these. And this is gonna sound racist, but the black one is just horrifying. I mean, am I wrong? I mean, look at the leg on this one. My fucking Lord. But why were they so popular? Each Cabbage Patch Kid doll comes with a unique name and birth certificate, emphasizing their individuality. So you're not only buying a toy, you're buying a new friend. Is that fucked up to do to children? Yeah. The adoption theme extended to adoption centers where people could adopt a doll instead of just buying it, further enhancing the personal connection between the doll and the owner. That is actually fucked. They have a literal orphanage for these products. Come on in and meet your new brother. Also, cabbage. How the fuck did you get away with that? I mean, I get that like the cabbage that kind of looks like, their heads look like the cabbage head, but still, the smelliest, fartiest vegetable out there. The fart kids. Is that even a joke? Why did I say that like that? The creative marketing strategy significantly contributed to the doll's massive popularity and set them apart from toys of that era. Since each doll was unique and the demand caused the item to become scarce, they were as good as gold during the holiday season. Hopeful shoppers would drive many miles to nearby cities and towns to stand in line to try to get one. Does it sound familiar? Black Friday? Is it all coming full circle? Did Cabbage Patch Kids create this kind of hysteria? I don't know, maybe.
How did you manage to get a Cabbage Patch doll?
Well, it wasn't easy, I'll tell you. I was talking to one of my radio sponsors one day, and the subject of these dolls came up, and I said, that's all I need.
I think he's talked to this doll. This doll has come to life and talked to him before. I was talking to this doll. I just had to get one. He like runs off.
What do you like best about your Cabbage Patch doll, Luther?
Well, it smells good.
That's what you like best about the doll? It smells fantastic, and also it tells me things that I should be doing differently every day. What does that mean? Just different things that maybe I should... I need help. It smells good, and it's ugly as shit. That's why I like it.
So you thought the Cabbage Patch craze was over with, right? Well, welcome to the Cabbage Patch Clinic.
The neck is broken.
What's wrong with it? My kid's neck's broken. All right. Well, sew her up. But with this accumulation of people, all the hype building, you know, FOMO rising from the children, Mom, I have to have one! We never expected something to happen in 1983. That, of course, I'm talking about is the Cabbage Patch Riots.
Potential buyers are not above elbowing, shouting, and crying so they can walk away with their coveted prize.
So the Cabbage Patch Riots in the early 1980s was probably one of the first heavily documented commercial, like, buying product riots ever on TV. And this is just a little glimpse of those times.
Welcome to another holiday shopping season. When the doors opened at this Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania store, the pushing and shoving began. One woman was knocked to the floor and suffered a broken leg.
What I wouldn't give to just see that guy just like take that bag and just start beating the shit out of people. You're all animals! You're all fucking animals!
This scene has been repeated in...
I like how the cop's just sitting there too. Oh, fuck, am I supposed to be horrifying? Oh my god, the Native American one. They did the Native American one dirty. I'm being completely honest.
About 16 inches high. They don't walk, talk, wet their pants, or grow hair. They don't do much of anything. But they have
I think every time the adults are talking about these things, they're just like, they don't do this, they don't do that, they're ugly as shit, and they're pretty much borderline useless. We have no idea why the children want them, but goddammit if they aren't flying off the shelves like hotcakes.
But they have upset the supply and demand cycle to an astonishing degree. There has never been such a first-year demand for a new doll.
As far as I'm concerned, they're the worst-looking things I've ever seen. I mean, they are pathetic-looking, they're homely.
They're pathetic looking.
Manufacturing about 200,000 a week in Asia and charging
Them like throwing the boxes to people is so fucking crazy.
Demand exceeds supply, and there is only one reason.
I like them.
Literally, children are the worst.
I like them.
You know, if I was that fucking, I'd be like, you're not getting nothing. You know what you're gonna get? You're gonna get some tube socks. That's the last Christmas gift my dad ever gave me. Tube socks, open because he needed one for work. Not even joking, and a 12-gauge shotgun. That's the last Christmas gift my dad ever got me.
How old were you? I
was 12. Children really are just, I feel so bad for all these parents too. They're just like, I have no idea. I don't know what went wrong with all of us. Like this is probably the only time in the world where every adult just came together and they're just like, But these riots turned violent. I mean, people are pushing over each other. You know, we had someone fall down, her leg got trampled and was broke. You can see people with bloody shins. I mean, it was absolute mayhem in these stores of people just trying to get Cabbage Patch Kids, man. What the fuck? The shortage of the Cabbage Patch Kids during the 1980s was primarily due to unexpected high demand with limited product capacity. All of them sold out immediately, so they couldn't print the things fast enough. It caused absolute mayhem. You started seeing that adults who were trying to please their children were now getting mad.
We've been out here since midnight last night, and the manager told us that we will be handed a doll. We will not be able to pick what we wanted. I got a boy, I wanted a girl. Now all the other ones are allowed to pick what they wanted. And he just won't pay any attention to us.
You know, where's my Cabbage Patch Kid doll? If I can't get my kid a Cabbage Patch Kid doll, then is my kid supposed to, you know, feel like a big piece of shit because Santa didn't get him a Cabbage Patch Kid doll? Me, I would have said yeah. Yes. Yes. You're terrible. That's what I said to my kid. Most stores stocked 200 to 500 of the product, but that wasn't enough to satisfy the thousands of customers surging the stores trying to obtain one. The manufacturers and retailers hadn't anticipated the overwhelming demand, which led to scarcity on the shelves, further fueling the frenzy as parents scrambled to purchase the dolls in time for the holiday season. It's actually insane to me looking back on this now too, that like Jingle All the Way, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, is like, it's so real. It was engineered mania. The month-long marketing campaign heading into the holidays, plus severe lack of products, was meant to create panic, aka fear of missing out, or as people say, FOMO, not to be confused with homo, which never mind, just don't say the other one. Shoppers camped overnight outside stores, store and parking lots, and mob displays, all of which may sound commonplace now, all right? But back then, I'm sure there was people just in there just being like, I want this, Mom. And this fucking big 45-year-old man comes running through, get the fuck out of my way! Fucking push this little kid into a rack.
Kids who got the Cabbage Patch doll and had it grabbed out of their hands by grown-ups. That was like the classic heart-wrenching scene.
A full-grown woman taking a doll out of a child's hand?
I mean, there was grown adults snatching these boxes out. Like, kids are just, the mom's like, I know you waited in line for a long time. You're good this year. And the kid's like, thanks. Yeah, whatever. This fucking big, burly, suburban, fucking overweight mom comes trudging through the store like a troglodyte, grabs a fucking box, slaps the kid in the face. And she's just like, too bad, my little princess needs it more than you! And like runs off. Several violent outbursts occurred in such major retail stores as Sears, JCPenney, Ward's, and Macy, aka malls, dude. Remember those? You probably see them now. They're like giant, like pantheons of like old dead gods. If you drive by like the Midwest, these malls, you still see a giant JCPenney kind of sitting in an empty lot. And at the height of the insanity, here's a quote from Newsweek. It was as if an army had been turned loose on the nation's shopping malls, ravaging the ficus trees, sloshing through the fountains, searching for the legendary stockrooms said to be filled with thousands of dough-faced, chinless, engagingly homely dolls. I like how even in the Newsweek too, the guy's like, you know, the editor too was like, I mean, should we be that hard on the dolls? He's like, that's as nice as I can be, honestly. I do love that he put dough face and chinless. I love that. Chinless dolls. These are little abominations. God, they're ugly. Delete. Delete. I want to punch the delete. Delete. They are made of plastic. Perfect. Submit. I also like how they're like in these sarcophaguses.
Buy me! Buy me!
For Cabbage Patch Kids, it's like a fever taking hold. Potential buyers are not above elbowing, shouting, and crying so they can walk away with their coveted prize.
Early Christmas shoppers were buying an average of 3 dolls each, leaving stores massively understocked. That's fucking crazy. The average person is buying 3 of these dolls. Pretty crazy. By October 6th, Coleco said all 2 million dolls it had manufactured were gone. According to Newsweek, by Thanksgiving, what had been sellouts became the Great Cabbage Patch Panic. By the end of 1983, approximately 3 million Cabbage Patch Kids dolls were adopted. Demand was so high that $25 Cabbage Patch Kids were sometimes being resold for hundreds and sometimes even thousands of dollars, dude. Unbelievable. By 1984, the dolls and their accessories had generated $2 billion, almost half of Coleco's revenue that year, which was $4.5 billion. That's insane. But after the dust had settled, we realized that the Cabbage Patch dolls were so huge that it influenced the toy companies to follow suit. It almost set off a domino effect of like now every year, I'm sure there was like probably a giant shopping spree of a new toy. But some of the more noticeable ones that you might remember are 1996, the Tickle Me Elmo.
Tickle him again and hold on, because his whole body shakes with laughter.
That little cocksucker made people go crazy. Then you had Furby dolls in 1998. Remember those? Furbies? You remember Furbies? Every kid had those. I had 2 of them. I did, literally. Fucking horrifying. There was an artist, I have to find the artist, but she makes the hairless Furbies. And I thought that was just so sick. So, you know. You had the Beanie Babies craze, which the Beanie Babies thing was fucking weird too because it's a children's collectible thing, but really like 6 suburban moms orchestrated that whole thing to make like a bunch of money. That was fucking weird. In the more recent years, you have like fidget spinners. Even today, in a non-doll toy-like world, you still have these things, like these little things that are so, everybody's making them, you gotta have them. It's fucking crazy. It started moving its way. It became such a tradition that it even was satirized, like I said, in Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad, all about getting a Turbo Man action figure. Still one of my favorite Christmas movies ever. Probably my favorite Christmas movie ever. And you know what? You know what's fucked up about that? That movie made me want a Turbo Man action doll. The Cabbage Patch thing, even through the 80s, you can see it had influence with the Good Guy dolls, with Chucky. In that movie, you can see Andy is like watching the commercials. The kids are getting all hyped up, and the kid is like kind of like telling his mom, and she knows that's important to him too. And it was really interesting now, after looking at this document and researching, how directly influenced that movie was, but still, how it still feels like it rings true today of just like kids want something, they beg to their parents. Every child does it, but I can see how in the 80s it would have been much more influential, and also it would have been way more applicable of the times. Which also worth mentioning too, the Garbage Pail Kids got sued by Cabbage Patch Kids, you know, because the Garbage Pail Kids, Cabbage Patch Kids, except they're gross. Personally, Garbage Pail Kids fucking rule, in my opinion. And of course today, in a way, even the way that the Cabbage Patch Kids are like, oh, no two doll is alike. It has its own name. It has papers. It's legitimate. It's a child. It feels like a Bored Yacht Ape. Like an NFT before NFTs were even a thing. It's just crazy how these things trickle their way through history and just seem to repeat themselves. Now I'm gonna always go look at NFTs as Cabbage Patch dolls, which is, you know, which is crazy. But there will be more Cabbage Patch Kids moving forward. But I do think that the commercial craze of Black Friday days and people rioting, trying to get deals on something, this like weird rat race of taking the hard-earned money you have and throwing it at very minuscule deals, kind of all started with a really, really ugly doll. But maybe you have a Cabbage Patch doll. For me, my Cabbage Patch doll was a Bionicle. Whenever the Bionicles first came out, I like almost cried to my mom being like, please fucking buy me that fucking I want the red one. Mom! You wanna know something fucked up? I wrote my mom a letter for the new God of War. And I was like, if you buy me this is literally what the letter said. If you buy me this, I will never ask for anything ever again. And I'm pretty sure I think I didn't spell promised right, which was embarrassing because I should have been old enough to know how to spell promise. The next morning, my mom was like, sure, I'll buy it for you. And I was so ecstatic. I was like, oh my God. We went to the game store and there it was in the GameStop display. Beautiful PS2 copy in the GameStop deal. And this big fat bastard at the fucking checkout. My mom was like, yeah, we'll take God of War. And the guy said this. He was like, is it for him? And I was like, what are you doing? What is this? Why is she's grabbing it? He's like, yeah, there's a lot of violence and sexual activities and a lot of nudity in this game. And I was like, I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna fucking kill you. And he like basically guilt, because how, as a parent, how are you supposed to sit there and be like, oh, I mean, I don't care. You know, it's like this uncomfortable position now where she's like, oh, okay. Sorry, you probably shouldn't have this. Is there anything you want? So then I got Dragon Ball Z Sagas. And let me tell you something. Dragon Ball Z Sagas is maybe one of the worst games to ever be released to the public. A religious friend's house, playing it with tears in my eyes because it was so bad and boring, and I had to play through it because it's a new game. And my religious friend, who's like I hung out with, because I don't know, maybe I just didn't have a lot of friends or something, but he's like, dude, this game's pretty cool. And I was just like, all I know is whatever, it still works on me. And if you ever have kids, they're gonna do the exact same shit. So fuck you, have a good day, bye.